The boys and I participated last year in a Christmas craft market, and we were so honored to have been able to get a space. It was our first year here in Nova Scotia, and if you've been following our channel for a long time, you know that every Christmas the boys and I love to do a Christmas market together. It is a tradition that we have been doing since the boys were born. I would participate in our local craft shows back in Ontario, wear the boys in the snuggly and go work and sell my wares for the day. And as they got older, they started helping with different things to prepare for the market. Like the one year they did some of their own DIY crayons in silicone molds, and each year they come up with something that they want to take and sell, and it's so much fun. And the memories that we make preparing everything for the markets is so enjoyable over the several weeks before the dates that they come up, and then we work the day of the show, and the boys are just always ear to ear smile that day, and they have so much fun. So we wanted to keep that tradition alive, and now that we're moving to Nova Scotia, we just weren't sure if anything like that was going to be available, and we were so excited to see that there was a lovely Christmas market that we could join, and we did, and it was fantastic. So here is a little sneak peek of what we took to the craft market last year. I think this will give you an idea on how we use completely upcycled materials, and I think you can see how much love and care we put into each of the items that we took to the market.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the ones who lost their hope.
But this year, we just got the news just this week that we have been accepted to go again this year. And this is something that we want to do every year now, so we're so happy that they wanted to invite us back. They liked everything that we brought, and the day just overall was just a complete success. You never know when you join into a new market in a new area how busy it's going to be. You don't know what the other vendors are going to be selling. You really just want to go there and be part of your new community, which is what we did. But we were absolutely shocked by the outcome and the turnout for the actual show. For such a small area, there was so much traffic. It was so busy throughout the day that we couldn't even stop and eat the muffins or anything that we prepared to take if we had any downtime to kind of get us through the day. It's just running for just a few short hours in the day, but it was packed from the moment we started to the moment that we ended. And we actually sold out of many of the items that we took to actually show on our table before the doors even opened. Many of the vendors had come up and purchased things off our table, and literally the minute that it opened, I had sold out already of several of the things that I was really excited about having on our table just to show the creative ideas that we had come up with to take. So this year, we have a little bit different of a plan. We will have more time this year to be able to create items to take. Last year, we found out about the market a lot closer to the actual date of the event, and so we didn't have a ton of time to prepare, and so we had to think of like, what ideas do we absolutely must want to make, like they're top on our list priorities to take with us, and got those prepared first, and then any additional time we had, we worked on just a few other loose parts to kind of take with us. But this year, we now have about a month and a half to prepare for the show, and so we started working on a few things the other day, which I'll show you in this video. But there's something that I wanted to make note of that happened last year that will keep me a little bit more mindful in how I show on our channel what I'm taking to the show before the actual event. So just know that behind the scenes here, we're going to be working on preparing for the event, and we're going to show you everything that we create to take, as well as our time actually at the event. But last year, I noticed something that I had shared on my channel that I was really excited about taking, which I thought was so cute for our table. It took me a lot of time to create them and sourcing out the materials. But I noticed that some of the vendors that were there was just a few vendors that actually had copied some of the things that I had shown on my channel that I wanted to take. And so this year, I'm gonna be a little bit more secretive over what I'm actually taking, and then not show on my channel until we're very close to the event or the day of the event. That way, I can keep my really creative ideas kind of to myself in the meantime, because I want to wow at my table and really showcase my creativity. And last year we went with the theme of keeping the cost to actually go to the show. I only wanted to spend about $30, which sounds like such a small amount of money to prepare for a whole event. But we took $30 and everything else that we used to go to the show was completely made from upcycled materials. So I want to do that again this year, and I'm going to give myself just a super small budget like that, $20, $30, and then create absolutely everything from scrap, which is what I've done with the first couple of items I'm going to show you in this video that we already started making. That really challenged my creativity last year and just really helped me to be able to showcase some of the things that I really wanted to bring to life, but in a super unique way that no one else would be able to replicate. And then that made our table really stand out and be really unique. We wanted to be colorful and cheery and just all good vibes. The theme of our table last year was Gone Coastal for Christmas. It was our first year in Nova Scotia here, and I wanted to do something that would be very Nova Scotia themed. And it was an absolute success on the table to have items that would be really easy, small price item gifts to be able to give to people that maybe didn't live in Nova Scotia or people that did. It was just seemed to be like I hit the nail on the head in terms of the theme for the table. So I think I'm gonna go with that vibe again this year. I'm still like Gone Coastal for Christmas, and I'm just really loving making a lot of that really coastal vibe stuff that's very Nova Scotia specific. And so I think I'm gonna lead with that still. So I'm gonna kind of follow what I did last year, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. But we are gonna take a lot of really new creative ideas to the craft show this year. I have a few tricks up my sleeve with some things that we're gonna create. And then there's a few things last year, like I mentioned, I didn't even get to show at the show because they were sold out before the table even opened in the morning. So we're gonna replicate a few things that we already did take last year and just have a really nice selection on the table and have more multiples of everything. Because again, last year I didn't have enough multiples of everything that sold out so quickly because we didn't have that time to create everything before the event. I think we only knew about 2 weeks before the event actually took place last year. So the show is $10 to go, and it's November 26th. I forget the time, I think from 10 to 1. I'll put the information down in the description box if you want to come and check out the market. It was absolutely amazing. You can see in the video that I took last year of the market, you can get a glimpse at some of the other wares that the other creative artisans took to the event. Everyone's table looked amazing, and we were just so proud to be there. So if you have the time and you're in the local area or you're visiting Nova Scotia during that time, come and check it out. It was honestly one of our favorite markets we've ever done. When it comes to markets, we've actually done really large markets in Ontario before. You probably remember the video where Philip and I's mom did a huge market that had over 30,000 people in attendance. And I would consider that market to have been almost a complete flop in terms of how much revenue we created from going that day. And it cost, I think it was just over $1,000 to go for the 3 days that we were there. And I think we spent pretty much close to $1,000 in materials to create. At that time, wood signs and wood decor were very on trend, and so that was what we took. Philip's mom had some textiles and some other creative wares there as well, and we had a 10 by 10 booth. So if you are going to do your own creative craft market, the size of the market doesn't always matter. You can do a very small town show and actually make more revenue than you would if you attended a larger show where you would expect there to be more traffic, because more traffic doesn't necessarily equate to more sales. You want to go somewhere where you know the people are there to actually shop for what's at the tables. When we went to the large event, we just noticed that there were a lot of people there for social and just walking around for something to do, but weren't necessarily there to buy anything from any of the creative market vendors that were there. And so I find when we do the smaller markets, the people that attend them are there because they want to go get some small gift ideas for their friends and family. They're there with some money in their pocket, and they really are looking for unique things that are locally made, and they're there to shop. Of course, they're going to see friends and local family members maybe at the event, but they don't typically go there for social. They go there because they want to purchase something. So keep that in mind if you're feeling like going into a smaller market maybe isn't going to make you as much revenue as if you were going to do a larger market. I've always had much more success at my small town shows that we've done than I have if I've done any large markets. And to be completely honest, I think doing the smaller markets, they're so much more fun because I think they're a lot less stressful, because you're not making things and thinking, oh my goodness, what if I don't make enough money to compensate for the cost that it cost me to go and attend the event and your supplies and your time. So this market that we're doing is only $10 to go. It's only for a few hours, and I know that if we only invest a few dollars and we go, all in all, we're gonna come home feeling like we had a super successful day, even if we sell nothing at all and we just go and have a nice time together. So we don't go necessarily for the amount of money that we're gonna make. We just go because this is a tradition that we love doing together, and the boys and I have so much fun for weeks and weeks before preparing and doing some things. So I want to show you now a few things that we already started working on. I think these were a really neat idea. I started creating them. We actually were without power, like you guys saw from the hurricane, for a few days, and the boys were off school all week because of the power outages. And I thought it would be so fun for us to just work on a few things at the table and just get a little bit of the ball rolling, getting ready for the market. So I want to show you what we were working on. So the other day when we were working on the kitchen transformation, I hope you saw it and that you didn't miss it, because our before and after was absolutely the most magnificent transformation. But we actually were working on trimming up the windows. And when I did the window trimming, we had to use the table saw to rip a little piece of the wood off of the pieces that we were putting to frame up the windows. And it left me with these really long, very narrow strip pieces of wood. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not gonna discard this because I can use this for something. And immediately I had an idea. So I have about an 8-foot long piece of this, and I have several because of course we framed up quite a few windows. And I wanna show you what I did with it. I actually had cut it up into maybe about 3 to 4 inch length pieces, and I laid them flat. And I had the boys use multiple colors of paint, just acrylic paint, and painted all of the strips. And I had them put multiple colors on each of the chunks of wood, just on the top. And what I did was I let them dry completely, and when they were dry, I distressed all of my little chunks of wood that we had painted. Once those were completely dry, we glued them together, almost creating a little bit of a shiplap look. Once we created our block that had the shiplap, we decided that we were going to turn them into coastal looking seahorses that would eventually turn into ornaments. So then what I did was I took my Cricut and I used the shape of a seahorse, and I stenciled and traced it on each of the shiplap sections. So you can see here that we had put a whole bunch, about 6 or 7 strips of our shiplap together, and I traced it and then used my scroll saw to be able to cut it out. So you can see that the boys and I had put all these different colors on each of the strips and then distressed them to create the seahorses. So you can see we have all different colored ones. They're so cute. I'm definitely gonna make more of these. I still need to put on the little eye hooks to be able to actually have, I'll probably put the eye hooks up at the top here, to be able to attach my ornament hanger or ribbon or some coastal jute. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I want to put a little bit of clear wax on these now that they are completely distressed. But aren't the colors incredible? And so we made these completely for free, other than the paint we already had, and used these strips of wood. Okay, and the second thing I was working on was these little ornaments here that would be the vintage red truck. I stamped them to say Nova Scotia. You can see that the boys, once we stenciled them on, the boys helped me sponge paint them, and I have to still cut these ones out with my scroll saw. You can see they're so cute. We just painted the tires and got everything ready. I left the wood on the outside raw and sanded it really smooth, which I think it looks really cute. And then bottlenose brushes are still super trendy this year, and so I have a few of these little bottle brushes, and what I'm going to do is adhere them on the ornaments here in the back. I'm not sure if it's gonna face that way or this way, but regardless, you get the idea. And we're going to turn them into ornaments. I love that they're monogrammed with the Nova Scotia on them, and I think they're gonna be perfect because last year we took some larger red vintage trucks you can see in the video that I showed, and they sold out right away. So I thought, how cute to have some larger ones as well as some ornament size ones, which would be in a smaller price point. Okay, so if you have any ideas on things that you think that I absolutely must have at my show, or if you missed the video where we showed what we took last year, watch it in the card above here and check it out and just see. It gives you a little bit of an idea on sort of the vibe that I'm going for. I think this year I'm gonna spend a little bit more time focusing on what our actual display looks like on the table. Last year I didn't have a lot of time, as I mentioned, and so we did put together just a really quick setup with a tablecloth, a couple of wood crates, and then I just did a really quick DIY to make an ornament hanger, and it worked perfectly. But this year I think we're gonna have a lot more inventory, so I wanna come up with something a little more creative. So I will definitely show that to you on the channel, what we're creating to be able to have really like a show-stopping setup is what I'm going for this year. I want people to come to our table and it to just be completely good vibes, have something that's in the budget for everyone. I don't want anything that's too high of a price point. I want easy to make gifts, small, thoughtful, memorable things that people can see that are super unique and just kind of scream that the boys and I put so much love and attention into every little detail. So stay tuned for what we're gonna do with the setup, more about what we're actually gonna take to the show. If you wanna see that, as many parts of it as I possibly can, let me know in the comments section. Based on the views of our craft show videos, I feel like you guys really wanna see that. And so I'm leaning towards being able to show you a lot more about what we're preparing for that, especially over the holiday season. We have a few different things that we wanna show you that we're gonna do here at the house as well as for the market. So thank you so much for watching and for cheering us on and for always being part of any adventures that our family takes. I love you guys, and I will see you on tomorrow's episode. We are back in the pantry tomorrow.